Hi everyone, delonewolf here and welcome back to the Sunday recap, my weekly vlog where I talk a bit about my last week in games. And as always, we'll start with EVE Online. That has been, well, a bit of an asset management week for me in EVE Online. I basically made some preparations in order to re-establish or update the base of operations in Galente space. That's basically where I've been spending most of my time between Iona and then Dodixie and Gita itself, making a couple of transport ships and just getting stuff back and forth so that I'm ready to try and I think expand there a little bit as well. We'll see how all of that works out. I do think it's gonna be an interesting experiment. Blueprint copies, we haven't gotten to a next cycle just yet. That's going to be for next week. And then PI, just something that I do on a regular basis, but if you follow EVE Talk, you know that all the easy stuff to make. Advanced PI has done a nice recovery and is able to defend that, but anything below that specialized, and I'm not exactly sure what the other stages are, but those are still very cheap, so I'm just hoarding all of that, putting it in a single station in a Mars space at the moment. But eventually I do think I'll move my PI setup back into Galente space as well. Haven't been able to interact with the lore stuff that's happening. Apparently all of the four main factions in the game are using dreadnoughts to bombard planets. We still don't really know what's happening there, but it's pretty cool. The story is moving and I'm trying to keep as close an eye on that as possible as well. Hopefully we get some news and stuff like that for the anniversary of EVE Online that's coming. Should be pretty interesting to see what type of events, but also what type of announcements CCP makes about what's coming next for EVE Online. It could change everything quite drastically, of course, so I'm not in any rush to do a lot in EVE Online at the moment. My plan is to build up a little bit in Galente space in the system of Iona, but also keep an eye on possible evolutions that could be interesting for me and that may give me some ideas as to what I want to do next. And this has allowed me to spend quite a bit more time in Path of Exile, the Ultimatum League. I must say, despite the very difficult actual launch day for a lot of players and streamers, which I missed by sleeping through the launch event, you could say, I've had a very smooth and very nice experience with Ultimatum so far. It's also pretty rewarding. You're getting some nice rewards if you have a build that can handle the Ultimatum mechanic quite effectively. And I basically got 3 characters into the maps, and my favorite so far is actually the Arc Inquisitor. It does have ascendancies that allow for basically more damage on all of them, and that is something that I found is decently unique. I mean, you do have the Elementalist, right, where I'm also using the skulls that then have Infernal Legion and minion instability, so they blow up when they get to 50% life, but I also went with some like fire damage and elemental damage into that build, into the passive skill tree, which doesn't work for elemental instability as it turns out. So that's a lesson that I had to learn. It works, I think, for the Infernal Legion burn, so it's alright. Their DPS is up when they're up and running, but the highest potential damage is probably from the explosion from minion instability that depends on the HP and the damage of the minions themselves. And so, yeah, there's definitely some mistakes that I've made in those builds, but the Arc one is so straightforward and almost all of them. I mean, it's still not optimal because of with the battle mage you basically have to like use non-instant spells and then that buff up an attack. Part of that ascendancy works that way, but it also simply has Battle Mage, which gives you spell power equal to the attack of your main hand weapon. So that's just straight up plus damage for elemental stuff, which is pretty cool. Then other ascendancies are you get higher crit chance depending on your intellect or strength, whichever is lowest. So that's a straight up DPS boost, of course. And after that, I think the really critical one is that you get critical strikes, ignore all elemental resistances. That feels super strong. With Arc, you shock the enemy, so basically what tends to happen on rares and things like that, I do a first Arc, so they are shocked, and then if the second one is a crit, they just get completely deleted. It deletes packs as well super fast. map runner as well. As far as I'm concerned, probably my highest DPS build, and I've been enjoying playing him a little bit more as well. We actually managed to get our 4th ascension, so finally found that last trial. Managed to do that pretty easily. In fact, is it Izaro or something like that, just completely melted on a couple of occasions, especially when cost-win damage taken triggers, and get a couple of extra lightning spells there, just constantly shocked and got deleted quite pretty easily, I would say. And then the final ascension actually gives you like a bit of an aura or something. You know, enemies close to you take 16% increased elemental damage, not bad for arc, and you take 8% decreased elemental damage. So you can see all your ascensions, all my ascensions for this character, the Lord of Thunder, as I'm calling him. It really does look like you're just shooting lightning at everything around you. It's crazy. It's all about damage, which also means he's a bit of a glass cannon, and that's a little bit a problem that I'm encountering as I'm getting into the yellow maps with this one. We can't really tank the leak mechanic anymore, so I gotta maybe do like a single one and skip most of it. It does get harder and harder. On the map phase it's still pretty easy, and of course one big weakness is that you know, if there's a reflect on there, reflect elemental damage, I just you know, tend to kill myself in a single arc, so that's a little bit of a problem as well. But overall that has been a very satisfying build. All of them have been based so far around cost while channeling, which I think is very satisfying as well. Just get a level 1 cyclone, cost while channeling, and then set up the spell that you want. It won't work with just any spell. A lot of them have to be aimed, and that's actually not so easy. But yeah, either minions with minion instability or arc actually have a little bit of looking for trouble, you could say, themselves, and that's very handy, allowing you to just, you know, spin to win, single button, clear all the map. It's definitely pretty cool, and I've been enjoying my time in Path of Exile so far absolutely very much. So yeah, that was my last week in games, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, I'll see you next time.